Have them? We're doing it. Monkey, we're doing it. Huh? Oh, cone dog. Cone dog. Only a couple more days, buddy. And then you don't have to worry about that cone anymore. Huh? Yeah? All right. Hello, everyone. Well, welcome to Houston with Problem. Problems abound. There are more problems than I could possibly address in this entire world. And, oh, somebody's doing laundry, so I got to close this thing. That way, guys. You don't have to listen to the laundry machine going chugga chugga chugga. So, dog still in cone, cat still fat, little cat still in heat and banished from the room. Several things happened over the weekend. One, I forgot to put in the description. Javier Milei rug pulled the world, and now might get absolutely pulled apart by his citizens. Oops. When you start having political leaders rug pulling folks on crypto scams, it's a big sign that you elected the wrong person. That's Trump did it with 3 different coins the weekend before his inauguration, costing his people billions of dollars. Not good. Speaking of Trump, he signed an executive order just a little bit ago, basically stating that only he and the Attorney General are allowed to determine what is legal. The fiat of the king. So those of you who have been mad at me for pointing out that we are on a quick descent into authoritarianism or fascism, there you go. The courts no longer determine what is legal. The president does. A president who didn't even get a majority of the votes. He got less than 50% of the votes, but he gets to determine what's legal and what isn't, right? Elon fired a whole bunch of people from NIH, fired a whole bunch of people from Forest Service, from national parks. All the national parks are closed, so yay. Cool. We don't get to go enjoy our national parks anymore. JD Vance, turns out JD Vance was a big investor into Acre Tracker? It's an investment fund that buys up farmland in bulk. And they are buying up farmland like crazy because the Inflation Reduction Act provided billions of dollars of grants to small farmers to purchase farmland. And now those grants have been pulled and all the farmers are getting foreclosed on and all that land is getting purchased by J.D. Vance's company. So that's cool. Although the Government Accounting Office has launched an investigation into Elon Musk because Elon fired yet another group of regulators who were investigating things like Neuralink. Those are gone. We had another plane crash over the weekend. So we're getting about a commercial airline crash a day at the moment. But don't worry, SpaceX now has a contract to fix the FAA that they broke. So we have that. NextBridge Hydrocarbons hired Wes Christian's firm to pursue legal recourse for the fact that there's a huge discrepancy between the number of shares that should exist and how many shares are in brokerages. So we have that coming. No Labs decided to bypass the voters, the shareholders, and decided to go for a 40-to-1 reverse split. Before it was only going to be a 15-to-1, but then they got delisted and the stock price got hammered even more. So there's that. And Ryan Cohen spit out some incredible divorced dad energy in a tweet, basically being like, "Meh, Canada isn't cool anymore. Meh, who wants to buy all my Canadian businesses?" And it's like, fucking A, man. Like, how emotionally stunted do people have to be? You're a CEO of a company, dude. Act like it. I get it. You know, buying physical video games is not the business of the future. But people still need, controllers, systems themselves, keyboards, mice, video graphics cards, collectibles. Like, you still have an avenue there. And if you just listen to me years ago when I told you with commercial real estate prices being as cheap as they are, you can buy the shops next door. You can cut a hole in the wall. You can put in land sites so that you can have Saturday morning contests. You can do like Little League for kids, for gaming. And they can come in and have tournaments. and they have to exit through the gift shop, which means, Dad, can I get that? Dad, can I get that? And boom, you have trapped parents being forced to spoil their children every Saturday at 9 a.m. when they come in to do their gaming, because that's what the, sign up to the Parks District or whatever, and they host it there. Like, there's simple solutions to you having a physical store location. But instead, you just want to be some like big time divorced dad energy and be all bitchy and complain about taxes. Oh, my taxes. You're a billionaire. Who gives a shit? Man up. Jesus Christ. Like, every time a billionaire complains about taxes, I want to just reach down their throat, grab their nards from the inside, and just pull them out through their mouth. Like, quit your bitching. You're a billionaire. Shut the fuck up. Who cares? Oh, I had to pay $100 million in taxes. Cool, you still have $3.9 billion set there. That's more money than any person should ever be able to spend in their lifetime. Like, are you funding huge, like, mega tunnels through metropolises with that money? No. You have a couple of houses, you go on vacation, you have a boat. Congratulations. You're not doing civic projects with your billions of dollars. Most of you aren't even donating to charity. You just bitch about your taxes all the time and then vote for a fascist dictator. Yay! Fuck's sake, man. Another news. Picoin went nuts the other day. Dropped to $182 and change. I'll be honest, with the amount of Picoin I have, that is retirement level for me. I can sneak off if I could sell that, but I can't sell that. They're connecting to the mainnet on the 20th, which is Thursday. So they'll be on the mainnet Thursday, where you can be able to transfer from your wallet to exchanges, except I think I'm personally locked in until 2026, so I will not be able to sell. I don't know how many people aren't locked in that long. I don't know how I got locked into that, but it looks like I can't move anything until 2026. So I may miss out on a nice chunk of change. If you do have a Picoin, like the network thing on your phone, where are you thing on my phone? Go there. You have the Picoin thing that you like what are you doing? Okay. You hit doink and it mines every day for you. And there's a link if you need one down below. You have 8 days to file for your KYC, which is your authentication. They authenticate your phone number and they authenticate who you are. And if you do that, you actually get the coins. If you don't do that, you won't get any coins. So you have to let them know who you are. You have 8 days to do it. And by all means, click on the link below. You get another Picoin. Right now, I think it's back down to like $65, which is still twice what it was for basically the last couple of years. So yeah, I would have, like, if I could have sold at 182, I would have had like $1.5 million. That's enough. It's enough for me to do something interesting. Let's just put it that way. Okay. Do you have anything else, Monkey, off the news? Did Malay, did Trump, did Elon, did RC, did No Labs, did NextBridge, did Picoin? I think that's our news for the moment. Airplane crashes. We got all those out of the way. So bing. Oh, didn't happen. Try again. Bing. You'll hear the cat full-blown heat screams going on through the door. She can now jump up, hit the handle, and push the door open, and then she goes, "Meow, someone have sex with me." Meow. Karen Mirza, monkey treat, please. Canada will win Thursday hockey. I can get a monkey treat. Oh, is that the magic sound? Is that the magic sound, monkey? Shall I give you an ear? I grab it. Don't let it fall. Okay, there you go. All right. Take it to the floor. Taking it to the streets, monkey. Yeah, there were, 4 fights in the first 9 seconds of the Four Nations tournament between Canada and the U.S. Canadians are pissed. With good reason. I mean, Canada just does their thing. They don't attempt to piss anyone off. They're just doing their thing, right? And here comes Trump. He's like, fuck Canada, we're going to make you 51st state. And yeah, if I were Canadian, I would, if Canada goes to war with the United States, I'm on Canada's side. That's what I'm saying. Or if the U.S. goes to war with Canada, I'm on Canada's side. I will switch allegiances in a heartbeat. Because, dude, how many of you read The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich? It's one of the most seminally important works of nonfiction probably ever written. The first 53 days that Hitler was in power, the number of what essentially came out as executive orders or equivalent executive orders that he did to consolidate power and to reduce oversight and checks and balances in the German government is basically what we're witnessing now. It is bad. Just how quickly this is all going to turn. And you can be blissfully unaware of it and get slapped in the face by it, or you can at least, stare at it, pull your hair out and go, what are we doing? I don't know which is better. Like, those are your two options, is like be blissfully ignorant and then be surprised by it all, or see it all happening and have like massive impotence towards being able to do anything about it. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm Team Canada right now. What's that, Ulaboot? Off the grid hero, next for hydrocarbons, Wes Anderson announcement, lawsuit discovery. Definitely going to be able to do pre-trial or pre-filing discovery, I believe. I forget what it's called. It's like a Rule 200 filings. Basically like, hey, we think we have reason to file a lawsuit, so you have to provide us with some information. So that is what's coming. Yeah, so we'll see if Wes is successful in this. He's not successful in a lot of them. A lot of them, it just kind of fizzles into nothing because people stop paying him. And he's like, oh, well, that's the company went bankrupt. It doesn't really go anywhere. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. Brendan Wells was first with Suppin. He also subbed BBBY No Labs. Well, we talked about No Labs. BBBY, I got nothing. There's something going on with BBBY Canada and US and the bankruptcies there. I don't know. Cameron Mirza. Canada burnt down the White House. They did. They did it once and they may do it again. War of 1812. Learn your history, people. Okay. Ferris F. First to say first. You are correct to be first to say first. You did get that one in there. Luke Alexander. Hope you're doing well, Houston. What's RC's plan to take a page out of Adam Aron's playbook and just get his entire investor base to turn on him? I think Ryan's entire plan is to turn GameStop into a holdings company. First, I don't know if destroying the entity that is GameStop to do that is the wisest choice. I mean, they're closing stores like crazy. And so like revenue is actually dropping. Profits are going up, but revenue is dropping because they have fewer and fewer sales points, right? And as you close stores, you have less audience to sell to because not everyone goes online and purchases. And if they do go online and purchase, right now you're competing. You're like, well, I could go to GameStop down the street and get it now, or I could order online. And your competitor online is Amazon, who can get it to you by the afternoon or the next day, versus others who do not have that network in place. So that's, if they're going to become like a micro strategy and just buy a bunch of Bitcoin and sit on that, then that's what they do. I don't think that is a long-term solution to anything. I think in the short term, yeah, probably pretty good. It's also better if you're going to do that was when Bitcoin like dropped back down to like $15,000 a coin, rather than when it's floating around 100,000. But there are sovereign wealth funds and others that are talking about buying Bitcoin. But eventually, all the sovereign wealth funds, ETFs, and investment vehicles will own it all. And then what? Right? Like, then what? you just sit on Bitcoin forever, and that's your entire business. That's all you do. You don't provide anything for society. You don't provide a service or goods, anything. You just sit on Bitcoin. I don't know. It seems like it's a weird long-term strategy, in my opinion. It doesn't really contribute to society in any way, shape, or form, and I just feel weird about it. So that's probably what they're gonna do, something like that. I'd prefer if they would like purchase companies, merge with companies that do things. I think it's better to do things than to not do things. But yeah, Sam McJunkin. Oh, Sam's here. Hey, Sam. Team Canada and Team Monkey. Oh, I didn't know you watched the show, Sam. Thank you. And Karen Mercer, Monkey Buff President. Monkey, would you accept the role of president? Well, you know, the eyebrow raise wasn't a no. She went. That was about it. I could see through her domed head. Okay. Two buck coin. I'm tired, boss, dude. So tired. So tired. Oh. I'm gonna be straight up honest. That if I were able to sell the Pi Network coin for $1.5 million 2 days ago, if I were able to do that, if I were to get it out of my account, stick it into Binance or whatever, and just sell it, I would probably purchase a 20-bedroom manor in like Umbria in Italy, and then just take anyone who wants to and just stuff them in there, and we'll figure out what to do after that. that's as good a plan as I can come up with at this point, because I think the descent into fascism in this country is going to be really quick. It's going to be really bad, and I can't guarantee people's survival in this event like that. It's going to be really bad, guys. I'm beating that drum a lot, but dude, Corporate Walnut, the maggots are having so much fun. I'm jealous. Not if you go to the Leopards Eating Face subreddit. They are, a lot of them are like, I voted for him 3 times. You know, he said he was going to help, and he just laid me off from my job, and I have no more pension, and I just bought a house, and I can't pay for my kids' school, and I don't know what I'm going to do. It's happening over and over and over, and like, it's happening to veterans. You know, 1/3 of government employees are veterans. I just read about a disabled veteran, did like 3 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, got hired at the Veterans Administration in Brooklyn to do IT. And he was 5 weeks away from having his probationary period over, and they just fired him for performance issues, right? And the hospital administrator is like, no, like, we need an IT guy. What is wrong with you, you morons? Like, we have hundreds of computers that do patient records and prescriptions and everything. Like, we can't operate without an IT guy. What are you doing? And DOGE is like, suck it. I'm 19. I'm going to fire everybody in the Atomic Energy Agency that manages nuclear weapons. Oh, right. Hanford, giant nuclear waste site, which is that way. They're all fired. Other contractors aren't getting paid. Like, okay, so we're just going to let the nuclear waste just burble there and not do anything about it. Just let it get right down into the groundwater and into the Columbia River, and then just fuck Portland, right? Yeah. Something I've tried to impart on people is like, there's that whole, like, you know, little crime or lib or whatever that people will do. And it's like, no, you understand, like, the bad stuff that's happening is going to happen to you too. Like, they don't care who you are. You're the little people. The little people don't matter. You don't matter. I don't care if you voted for him. He doesn't care you voted for him, right? He will still destroy you in the same process. Like, they don't care. And someone put it really well. They had a tweet that was like, you know the trolley problem that got into the mainstream lexicon from that TV show The Good Place. It's a Immanuel Kant little philosophical hypothetical test where you have a trolley and it can split into 2 tracks. On one side you have like 5 people tied up on the track, and the trolley's going to run them over. Or you can pull a lever and it will divert and only kill one person tied to the track. What do you do, right? And the tweet goes something like, I find myself tied to a trolley track, watching the trolley as it descends upon me, and I go, oh no, this is terrible. And the guy tied to the track next to me goes, huh, lol, cry more, lib. It's like, dude, the trolley's gonna run you over too. Most people are people tied to the tracks, not the person pulling the lever. The person pulling the lever, his name is Elon. You're not Elon. He's pulling the lever. You are the person tied to the track. Is he gonna run you over? Yes, gladly. Without even, second guessing himself. You can just see how his son talked to Tucker Carlson in an interview, talked to Trump the other day in the press conference. That is the attitude Elon brings in private. He does not care. He does not care at all. At all. It's going to be rough for everybody. When the Nazis took over Germany, not everyone, but enough people were like, woo, this is awesome, right? And then 12 years later, as the entire country's in ruins, they were not like, this is awesome. They were like, wow, we made some terrible mistakes. We have nothing but regret, right? Like, not all Nazis were like racist, anti-Semitic monsters. Some people joined the Nazi party because of economic uncertainty, right? And do you know what the Germans called people who joined the Nazi party because there was economic uncertainty? Nazis. They're all Nazi. They all, doesn't matter what your reasons were for joining that homicidal, terrible regime. Once you did, you're in it, and you're one of them. So the whole thing needs to be, you need to look at it holistically and be like, wait a minute. If I have economic concerns, perhaps aligning with a bunch of racists isn't the best way to address those concerns, especially since food prices aren't coming down, home prices aren't coming down, gas prices aren't coming down, right? All that's happening is inflation is speeding up again because all of the work done by the previous administration to reduce inflation with things like the Inflation Reduction Act are no longer in place. And inflation is slowly creeping upwards. So you traded your soul for $1.99 eggs, and what you got was racism and $8 eggs. There should be a lesson in there for everybody, but I think a lot of people, you could like have them jump up and down on the hot stove and they still won't get it that they should stop doing that. So, Chica Shukla super chats. I wish the Dems weren't a bunch of pushovers or at least grew a pair like the Squad. Yeah, the Squad should be leading the entire party. Straight up. They're the ones who know how to get on message. They're the ones who know how to explain things to the layman. They should be at the forefront of everything. Hakeem Jeffries going up there giving his baseball metaphors about Mike Judge, and be like, or not Mike Judge, Aaron Judge. Be like, we're waiting for our pitch. We can't swing at all of them, dude. Be like Vladdy Guerrero and swing at all of them. You're still gonna get in the Hall of Fame and you're gonna be loved and respected, right? So yeah, we need a lot more. We need Democrats doing the type of stuff that you see Taiwanese Parliament do, where like, oh, there's a shitty bill coming for a vote. Literally take the bill off the desk and run away with it, and then they can't vote on it, right? Like, we need like South Korea, where everyone turned out to crush the president who was trying to consolidate power into an authoritarian regime, and they're like, no, we don't do that here. And guess what? It worked. Get out there, protest, organize protests. We can sit around and we can talk about our stocks and we can, talk about stuff, but it won't matter. It won't matter if we're all crushed under the thumb of an authoritarian regime. So, personally at this point, like, you travel back 6 months. My goal was, hey, I'd like to have enough money so that I can just take a breath. I can travel. I can do the things I want. I can support the family I want. I can do, support the causes I want. Now I just need enough to GTFO. That's it. Because what's coming down the pipe is coming real quick. Steve Bannon talking about flooding the zone. muzzle velocity, with just putting out rubbish one after another so much that the news media can't pay attention to it, the lawyers can't keep up, and that's where we are, man. And the Democrats are such milquetoast weenies who still don't get it. Like, the norms, you can't work within the norms if your opponent is working outside of them. You have to meet them where, if your opponent is like out here, like, shooting raccoons out of a cannon, you can't be like, oh, somebody should do something about that, right? You're going to have to go out there and you're going to have to knock the cannon over, right? You have to meet them where they are. Fight fire with fire is you literally fight fire with fire out when you're making those fire lines. You're letting back fires, right? So that the fire can't destroy everything. You use up the fuel. And here we are. We're just like going, oh, this is bad. Someone should do something. And that's what our elected Democrats are doing. It's crazy. Biden had both houses and the presidency, and even then the Republicans were like, just foaming at the mouths, keeping legislation from happening. They were the minority. But somehow Democrats in the minority can't do that? Freak the fuck out, man. Go nuts. Go absolutely bonkers. Do it. Yeah. Corporate Walnut, what are lawyers now anyway? Nothing matters. Oh, stripping the legal system, which is basically a fantastic authoritarian stroke, which is you go to authoritarian government. You look at Orban in Hungary. You look at Maduro in Venezuela. You look at Saddam Hussein. You look at any authoritarian leader. They will use the legal system to punish their opponents, and also use the legal system to let their cronies get away with everything. It's the law for thee, not for me. And so Trump coming out today basically like, only I, the Attorney General, can determine what is legal. The courts cannot do that. That's not their job. That's literally their job. The lawyers inside of the Justice Department or like the White House counsel, their job isn't to determine what is legal. Their job is to guide you necessarily as, are you doing something that's illegal or not? If it is, the courts are going to bust you for it, right? That's their job, is to give you that advice. Or, the prosecutors in the Justice Department job is to go, we think this is illegal, let's take it to the courts and they'll determine it. But when you go out there and you state like, hey, this judge ruled against me, I think we should get rid of this judge. This is super dangerous territory that we're in. And I know some of you complain that I harp about this a lot, but man, this is where we are. It does not matter if you voted for him or not. Your life is going to get significantly worse in a hurry. So the sooner you accept that, the sooner we can band together and say, stop it. Right? Because remember, there's a lot of us. There's a lot more of us than there are of them. So many more of us than there are of them. We can, at any time we want, as a collective species, go full anthill and be like, no, this ends now. And we can do that. So I just don't know where that breaking point is for the American public. We've been cowed pretty well over the years to just sort of like sit back and watch everything happen and go, oh man, that's messed up, and then not really react beyond that. So I don't know where our breaking point is. If this were France, there'd be 400 million people in this country all on strike right now, like burning things to the ground, fighting with police, just doing whatever. But we're Americans. We're like, oh, I wonder when The Bachelor's on. And that's kind of how it's rolling. Fred Jones says fifth. Jack Burton, title says it all. RC is clearly going down a bitter path. Not cool. Yeah. I mean, he's taken too long. He's taken way too long to do what it is he needs to do with GameStop. He is dragging his feet like nobody's business, and people are suffering. His investors are suffering as a result. So that right there, like, he's got all the time in the world. Remember, he's a billionaire. He doesn't care. If GameStop fails tomorrow, he still has billions of dollars in Apple stock. He's fine. He will not even notice it, right? The rest of us, we have to work for a living. We actually have to like show up, do time cards, do that whole thing, and work. Put in our time, do our jobs. And what we get out of it is we get meager pay. So what we have is that we have meager savings put into this company, hoping that Ryan Cohen does something with it. And Ryan Cohen right now is going full divorce dad energy and is bitter. And it's not a good frame of mind to be in at that point. Like, you see his tweets going from this summer to today, the super MAGA Trump ones, and it doesn't seem to be measured, controlled, or emotionally mature. I'm not the most emotionally mature dude in the world. I cuss, I make crude jokes, etc. But when I do so, I'm hoping that it's at the expense of an asshole. and not the people who are at the bottom, right? Like, we're at the bottom, man. We're at the bottom society, and we are trying to find this loophole that gets exploited by the super rich so that we can enjoy a taste of it, so that we can pay off our student loans, pay off our mortgage or home equity loan, right? Get the car fixed, get the surgery that's needed, take time to spend with the family rather than working a second job. Like, there's just these little things that we should have that if our society functioned properly in the first place, we would already have. But we've got to find that loophole to get to where we should be. You know, we've got nations out there who have half the per capita GDP as the United States. Half. Canada has a lower per capita GDP than Mississippi, the poorest fucking state in the country. And yet Canada can still do national health care. Canada can still do a 40-hour work week with living wages, right? They have other issues. They got problems with, international billionaires coming in and buying up all their real estate. And these are problems that can get fixed in other ways. But like, California per capita makes 2.5 times what Canada does. California doesn't have universal health care, right? Washington, D.C., it's 4 times. Washington, D.C. makes 4 times what the average Canadian GDP is. They don't have national health care. They don't have universal health care, right? So there's a lot of things we could have in this country, and it wouldn't make the desperation of like, fuck Ryan, do something, right? Come to head if we just had some guarantees. I can't tell you how many people message me. When you guys know that you message me all the time. I get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of messages from you every day, and I try to at least respond, acknowledge, I read that, I saw it, I can read this thing, right? But of those, there's dozens of you who need surgery, need cancer treatment, have a loved one who needs one of those things, have wife is pregnant, baby's a risky pregnancy, we don't know if our insurance is going to cover the birth. Like, there are so many of you who message me with this stuff that if you just had the peace of mind of a win off one of these plays, you'd be okay. Because we don't have a safety net in this stupid country. We have a big fuck you. It's basically like, you're on your own, asshole. And that's individualism. Whoa! That's so much of what we have. Like, we are in a society, dude. We live in a society. Help each other. We should be able to use the power of the purse to make life better for people. I'm not saying go full-blown communism. I do believe that that humans do have, a greed instinct, and they're driven a lot by greed. And then if we just, just provided nothing but, everything shall be the same. The CEO will make $10 and the lowest person will make $10. There has to be some sort of drive to motivate, right? And folks it's all supposed to respond to that motivation. I get it. But at the same time, there needs to be some sort of mitigation as to the runaway greed. Like, a little bit of like, oh, I want that promotion so I can get a pay raise so I can do whatever. I'll do what it takes. I get that, right? But when you're sitting on $400 billion and all you want is more, that's a mental illness. And that needs to be addressed by society. Because your $400 billion is now collectively hurting us and not helping anyone except yourself. So when you get to a point where you have so much money, you can buy presidencies. You can tell members of Congress, like, if you don't rubber stamp everything I tell you to, I will spend $100 million on primarying you. Like that, at that point, no, you don't get that money anymore. Like, with great power comes great responsibility, and you just wasted it, and we're just gonna take it from you. That needs to be like you broke that trust, and we're done. So if I were in power right now, Elon would lose every government contract. He would lose his security clearances, and I would freeze all of his accounts, and he would get investigated until basically he was turned inside out and charged with everything at this point. Strip of his citizenship, because we know that he lied on his visas. Therefore, that gives us pretext to strip him of his citizenship, and boom, deport his ass back to South Africa, penniless. Nationalize the companies. At this point, I don't give a shit. Just do it. All right. Jack Burton, I don't like it when Canadians shit in their country, especially extremely rich ones who think they did all this on their own. Bingo. Rose Moon. I found out I have ankylosing spondylitis, which explains my myriad of problems. I can't say what. Ankylosing spondylitis. I wonder if I were a cat, if my owner would put me down upon learning the diagnosis or pay to help me live my best life. I have to look what that is. I don't know what that is. Ankylosing spondylitis. Chronic inflammatory disease that primarily affects the spine. Causes inflammation of the joints, vertebral joints, and ligaments, spine, lean, stiffness, pain, eventually fusion of vertebrae. Oh, shit. That's not good. That's bad for your back. Is it an autoimmune disorder? There it says it. Lead to be an autoimmune disorder. Genetic factors play a significant role as AS runs in families. Well, shit. I'm sorry there, Rose Moon. Diagnosis, prognosis, chronic condition, proper treatment. Most people with AS can live full, active lives. Even early diagnosis and treatment are crucial in managing the condition and complications. Well, I'm glad you know now. Hopefully, I don't know what the treatment is. There's no cure, but treatments can help manage symptoms and prevent complications. These include medications, non-steroidal, anti-inflammatory drugs, disease-modifying anti-rheumatic drugs, physical therapy, exercise, surgery in several cases, lifestyle modifications, no smoking. So apparently smoking makes it worse, so don't smoke. Well, shit. I'm sorry there, Rose Moon. That's a bummer. Yeah, as if we had a universal system, you would have that treatment you need right now. And, shit. And 9, what a big FU to all Canadian GameStop employees. Yikes. Yeah. It was real dick move of that tweet. I'll be honest. And I know people are going to be like, Houston's against the movement now. Buddy, you got to call it like you see it. Like, if the CEO is being a dick, tell him he's being a dick. He's not Jesus. He's not, absolved of all his sins, right? You can point it out like, hey, dude, not the way you should be announcing this stuff. If you're going to be closing Canadian stores, you don't have to be an asshole about it, right? Just, I don't, some tact, some respect, something. I don't know. Fortunato, No Lab's doing 41 reverse split tomorrow. Isn't that awesome? Well, I guess I'll go from, 10,000 shares to 250? KYP says, hey, Houston. Hey, KYP. Says before, says Picoin was a deal. I think I went over that already. They connect their mainnet to other wallets, so you can move stuff around starting on Thursday. So we'll see. I bet the price goes as people just dump, because a lot of people have thousands and thousands of coins, and they're like, "Hey, quick $100,000, right?" And they'll dump it out. So my guess is the price goes boink, and then slowly starts to creep back up again once they've exhausted their supplies. Just Mammy, Kevin Malone posted trading desk at IBKR showing a borrow rate of 2,600% and margin restricted GME. That's a lot. That is a lot. As much of a clown as Ryan Cohen is being, that stock is still heavily shorted and still a case to be made for a giant short squeeze on it. So, yeah. Colin says RC tweet was super lame as a Canadian. Yeah. I don't know if he's going to be allowed back in Canada again at this point. He may become persona non grata in his own country. Peter Sunday, happy birthday, Houston. FRC, kind of waiting for a good price to exit 70 to 90% of my GME after 4 years of holding. So disappointed. He really is turning off a huge number of people at this point. Was it 2 years ago? He was like, CEOs and companies should never take a political stance. And here he is just like, political stance, just like milking it for as much as he can. So take your own advice, dude. Like, I don't run a publicly traded company. I can spout all I want. Like, yeah, whatever. But you do. And you have millions of investors counting on you. And you're disappointing a great deal of them. So yeah. Off the Grid Hero super chats. Will they revalue gold to 100,000 plus kill US debt? I have no idea. I have no if we were to mistakenly go back to the gold standard, I have no clue what price it would be. Because there's not enough gold on Earth for the population of the United States to adopt the gold standard. It just doesn't exist. So if we were to make the gold standard a thing again, even at current prices, we say we'll make it $2,600. That'll be the gold standard, right? That means that anybody in the U.S. can go to the Federal Reserve and pay $2,600 for an ounce of gold and get it. There's not enough gold for that. There's only like $200 billion worth of gold. So if you're going to make it gold standard for the United States, that $200 billion worth of gold has to become trillions of dollars worth of gold. And then you're looking at the most exorbitant inflation you've ever seen in the entire world. You'd be like arbitrarily pricing a loaf of bread at $2,000 for a loaf of bread. Everything else will just go whoop right with it. So a lot of the gold standard dudes don't quite realize that you want to drop prices, you make the gold standard $50 for an ounce. Right? But then what happens is, the arbitrage of buying as much gold as possible in US currency than selling it overseas for a lot more will happen. So yeah, a lot of folks just, I don't think they quite realize what type of can of worms are going to open up by going back to a gold standard with such a huge population we have. When we got off the gold standard, we had 100 million people in this country. And now we've got 330 million plus people in this country. And globally, a population went from 1.5 billion to 8 billion. So the market out there for gold is so much bigger than it was before. So I don't know what price you put it at, honestly. I've not really seen any of these pro gold standard people explain that one to me. If you have anyone who has, by all means, send it to me. I will read it. Oh shoot, that just reset. Gotta go back, scroll back up. Lord Jameson. Hello, Houston. Here is my Bing Copilot AI question for you. What are the most promising scientific advancements of technologies that could help us solve the problem of climate change? Number one, helium-3. We talked about it many times. Go to the moon, mine helium-3, do cold fusion here on Earth. We don't need to have power plants anymore. We don't need to have solar panels at that point. We can just do cold fusion and disperse stuff. That's probably the biggest thing. Next up, solid-state batteries. Solid-state batteries use easy-to-get materials. You don't have to mine lithium anymore, the right solid-state batteries. You can use sodium. You can use aluminum. You can basically get easily recyclable materials out of that. You don't have to cause coups in Bolivia to get more. And those batteries can give you 10 times the charge, 10 times the distance in your cars, etc., with like 1/50th the charging time. Those things are coming. Next, if bird flu runs rampant and kills off 50% of the population, well, there you go. global warming will probably stop in its tracks until, we can like figure out how to have a society again. So that's the opposite of scientific progress in that point. But yeah, it was very weird that the Bing AI knew who I was. That was he tweeted it or skeeted that to me on Blue Sky, and I was like, Bing AI knows who I am. Weird. All right. And 9. We'd love to see RK's take on the sales, but more on his thoughts on RC's comments and more. It makes business sense, but why just shit on people? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I would be curious to see where he stands on that. Maui Zaddy, do you think the PP show is done? Hasn't had an episode in over 2 weeks after his PP coin, like Kais Crinkle Fries rug pull. I honestly, when PP talked about doing a shit coin, he's like, I'm gonna do a coin for the show, and everyone's like, don't do it, dude. And it sounds like he did it in one way or the other. I sent him a message and I was like, look, I made like 4 years ago, I made the Problemo coin. I made it as a joke. Like I was just gonna make this coin because show how easy it is to make it and distribute to everybody. And it turns out I made it on Ethereum, which probably was my mistake. I should have figured out a different platform to make it on, but the Ethereum one was really easy to program. But like the gas fees were so much that I could not afford to distribute to anybody. We're talking like if I want to distribute to 5,000 of my viewers, it was going to cost me well over $100,000 to do that. To just send you a joke coin that has no value across their network is impossible. And because I didn't have a bunch of money to create liquidity for it on like a swap site like Uniswap or whatever, I don't have the ability of putting it into a level 2 wallet like Loopring. Can't do that either. So there it sits on level 1 with $70 to $150 a transaction, regardless, depending on the time of the day, to just send this joke coin to people. And I was like, buddy, unless you have like huge backers behind you, don't even think about making a coin. You need somebody who has a couple $1 million that can post it to like Uniswap to create giant liquidity and establish a price for that coin. Don't even do it. And they did it. So a lot of people are angry at them, and I get why. I tried. Hazel A, dang it, won't let me redo the above message where it duplicated. Oh well, you have the number. What? I don't see Hazel A message. Hazel A, what message? What number? I don't see it. Hazel. Tony, Houston. My boss told us that a customer complained about an employee with bad posture. I have a hunch it was me. Jason Blackwell, where have you been? Green-Eyed Bandit Elixir. I can't believe I'm actually thinking now that he deliberately diluted to prevent a squeeze and even thinking he meant to botch the splividend. I mean, if you start adding it up, it seems to be the case, which is why I just need one more week of volatility. One more week of volatility, like last May or June, and I have it dialed in to I can make retirement numbers. I can bounce that thing up and down, get to a couple $100,000, and I can buy so many puts. Yeah, like if the price gets like $65, $80, something like that, I can buy so many puts at $50 that if he does dilute again, I'm rich as hell. And leaves enough left over that if he doesn't dilute, I'm rich as hell. And I can just be done with it. I don't want to think about this crap anymore. I just it should have been done by now. It should have been finished. If one of you conniving little monsters were in charge of all this, you would have squozed the hell out of the stock price by now. So it's been very obvious there's active efforts to keep it from squeezing. And you can still squeeze the stock and have the company be just fine afterwards. It's not like, oh, we can't let it squeeze. Volkswagen was a very viable company for a long time afterwards until the diesel faking thing got out. But they got Emperor 4K. Can someone just blockchain their stock? Yes. Can they just do that already? Alex Bishop is so bad. No Labs got kicked in the teeth. RC proved himself to be weak. Awful year start. Oh, it's going to get so much worse. Don't you worry. Juice Miami, USDA says it accidentally fired officials working on the bird flu and is trying to rehire them. Yeah, huge problem with the mass layoffs that DOGE is doing is, well, one, they have a bunch of children doing it who have no idea how anything works. They might be smart guys. They might know how to program or something, but they don't actually know how systems function. In the government, right? You get a job. You get hired as a level 3 technician, right? You're on probation for a year. I mean, they can fire you without just cause. They can be like, you're done, right? After a year, you have to provide just cause. You're earning your pension and whatnot. If you get promoted to level 2 technician, you're on a probationary year again. But they can't just fire you. If it doesn't work out, you go back to your level 3 position. So you have a bunch of people at the USDA, National Park Service, FBI, CDC, NIH, USAID, etc., who were at a level 3 position, got hired to level 2, or they're a level 2 and go to level 1, or whatever. And so technically on probation. And the coders saw probation, and so they just fired them. But legally, they're not allowed to do that. All they can do is move them from the position they were in back to their old position. That's all they can do. That's the law. So they just basically like took people that like were an inspector at the USDA and all of a sudden became a manager of inspectors, and they fired the manager. But the manager, you'd have to go back to just regular inspector level again. You can't just fire him. So yeah, almost everybody working on bird flu at the NIH and CDC are gone. So yay. I'm going to facepalm myself to death, I think, long before bird flu comes along, just because every day I read just such ignorant stupidity in the news that I don't know how people who are well-read function with all this coming. I'm a pretty easygoing dude. Usually I'm just like, well, it's funny. Messed up. But the writing's on the wall is just so, the end is nigh. The end is nigh, just loudly painted on every surface, everywhere you look. And we have a good chunk of this country running towards it, going like, suck it, lib. And that's where we are. Snur alert, or Snur T Lort. Houston. The God Emperor 41K. Can someone just block? Oh yeah, we did that wrong. God Emperor 41K. It's like everyone is just pussyfooting around. If you think that there is some fuck shit going on with their stock, just blockchain it. Ta-da! It's like the only useful thing you can do with blockchain technology. Everything else, It's like, hey, my message keeps getting deleted. I'm gonna leave the phone number so people. Oh yeah, it won't let you post phone numbers. That's one thing. Sorry, you might have to like spell it out, like the word 9, the word 8, etc. You might have to do it that way there, Hazel A. And 9, if you want to be Team Canada, help looking into the upcoming elections. Interesting, Pierre Poilievre won't get security clearance. Maple Trump? Yep. Trump pissing off Canada might be the best thing that happens to Labour. We weren't very popular, but people are going to rally around anybody who is not Trump at this point. So like, if Pierre looks a little too Trumpy, they're going to be like, status quo, right? So that might work for him. Matthew Jackson, your brother is a monster on X, always posting my MMTLP. That's the only thing he talks about. He's super pissed about it. Turkish, Hutowski, where the money is it with big balls or hairy balls? I think Big Balls has access to the entire treasury at this point, so it's probably him. N9, oh snap, they stopped the team investigating Elmo's Neuralink. Maybe they'll start putting it in immigrants or people who want to get U.S. citizenship. Lol. That I would not doubt that if we're going with the fascist comparison, right? We're having private prisoners build these huge camps for all these undocumented immigrants, etc. Then why wouldn't they go the Mengele route and be like, these aren't citizens, you can do whatever you want to them? And then Neuralink's like, sweet, we're going to paralyze and give people some infections. And that's the natural progression of things, man. Louis, RC's a MAGA turd. Yeah. Sad. I don't think he always was. I think he was a little more on the libertarian side until until he got embraced by that uh, South Florida billionaire crowd. Before he was still sort of an outsider, but they brought him in and they groomed him. Seemed like really well. RC got groomed, buddy. Alex Bishop, what is in a MAGA woman's head when she's promoting MAGA? Honestly, I don't know. I'm not a woman. I'm not MAGA, so I really can't figure out what it is. I do think this could be like Freudian, but I do think there's a lot of, I don't want to say sexual dysfunction, but there's a level of subconscious sexual desire, I should say, where, you know, there are certain people who just want a strong man telling them what to do, right? There's a certain like pick me aura of you know, if I give away all of my rights and my safety, then, you know, I could feel like a dirty girl, and they can just have their way with me. And there's like some sort of subconscious thing you're dealing with where reality never meets the fantasy. Like, I'm gonna run away with myself with this analogy, but like, I'm staring at a map of like above my desk is this painting of the Olympic Mountains. So whenever I'm telling the show, I'm staring at the Olympic Mountains map here. I wonder if I can take the monkey cam and you guys can kind of see it up here. So there's this painted map up here. You can't quite see the whole thing, but I can see there's McNeil Island visible. McNeil Island is where they put the really bad sex predators for watching for a long time. I can pull it up on a map. I don't know. I wouldn't pull it up on a map. It was like our little Alcatraz here in Puget Sound. And I remember reading this article where they're shutting down McNeil Island and they're doing an interview with a bunch of men who have been convicted and have been living there, and they're going shipping off to like other maximum security prisons around the state. And one of the things, this guy was like a total pedophile and he was trying to rehab. And I can't remember the exact question they asked him, but in his mind, he was like, every time I do it, it ends up being the most horrible thing in the entire world. He's like, he has this fantasy in his head that he's going to get with this kid and it's going to be amazing, and it ends up being the most terrifying moment for that child's life, and it's awful, and he feels bad about it. Right? Like, this dude's a total, 100% recidivism rate, and he's recognizing what a monster he is, and he's trying to rectify the fact that, like, I have this fantasy and it never meets my goals. I think this is where a lot of like MAGA women are. I'm not saying they're pedophiles, but in their mind they have this fantasy of like a strong man, or even, a lot of closeted homophobic men in the MAGA movement also probably have these things, and the fantasy just never meets the actual reality, and which is why you have so many people coming online just in the first month of this administration who are like, this is a disaster, I regret my votes, right? You got folks on Section 8. Oh, here goes the camera again. Did we fix this crap? Just, please, camera. Man, I thought I fixed you. Stay. That they're on food stamps, they're on SNAP, they're on Section 8 housing, etc. And, oh, for crying out loud, man, just don't do that. You're gonna ruin my entire flow. You're ruining my flow. Ruin my flow right now, man. Okay, how about we do this? There. All right. we're just gonna go from here. You can see the messy desk, these stacks of things I got to get through. Okay. So like they, in their mind, they have this idea of like, oh, we're going to clean up the homeless, not realizing that they themselves are one mistake away from being homeless, right? Like no one is safe. You are so much closer to being homeless than you are a billionaire, and those billionaires are going to remind you of it instantaneously with their actions, and they are. And so you're doomed. You're doomed. All of you. Regardless, like seriously, so much of this country voted the way they voted because they really, really, really want to say the N-word without any consequence. And okay, cool goal. Like, all right. Oh crap! It's time for me to go. Shit. I'll do another show tomorrow. Well, at some point, that might be afternoon show. Can I do afternoon show tomorrow? Yeah, because your appointment's on Thursday. So I'll do a show, I think afternoon show tomorrow. I don't know if I will get to a show on Thursday because Monkey has her first chemo treatment. And depends on how, I have no idea how long that's going to take. That's in the middle of the day. So we'll see you tomorrow for sure. And I can figure out the stupid camera or just replay. I thought I fixed it and it's being a jerk again. So anywho, I got to go back to that guy. Oops. Well, hey, there's the exit. Yay. Let's let that go. Second intro. Okay. Oh, it's so stupid. Okay. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Look at that mess. Look at that mess. Oh my gosh.